Hello and welcome to Talk Talent to Me podcast channel, hosted by Hopi Recruitment. We speak to businesses in the Middle East about their journeys and the importance of identifying and cultivating talent to drive success. Today we speak to Hopi Contact Lenses. Hopi offer an on-demand premium contact lens service across the Middle East. Since conceptualizing the idea in 2018, their co-founders Charlie Wright and Christian Simpson have secured a six-figure seed funding, sold over 150,000 lenses across 2,000 orders, acquiring 1,000 unique subscribers. We speak to Charlie and Christian about how they combine their skills to create a great product and business here in Dubai. Christian, Charlie, welcome to the Hopi Podcast. How are you both?
Really good, thanks. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Very well, thank you very much.
Thanks for coming on. So as we speak right now, it is the COVID-19 lockdown. How are you two getting on, staying safe with the family?
I keep thinking to myself, would I struggle if I was on my own more than if I had kids? And I think my kid is keeping me sane. I think Isla is keeping me sane because it breaks up the day. But the problem is now we're on week 6, so it's getting to the point where she's just cracking it. But it is what it is. I think if you stay positive and just admit this is life, then it's much easier to deal with.
Agreed. And
Yeah,
you, Charlie?
I think if you step away from like the personal implications, like from a business perspective, it hasn't really changed too much of what we're doing. Christian and I have been working from home for a long time now, so I understand people working from home for the first time. It can be completely alien to them, but in that sense, we've been doing that for a long time now. I think we're talking a lot more than we ever did. So in terms of our productivity, it's actually probably through the roof. Unfortunately, we haven't been too badly affected. We're trying to operate as much as business as usual. But yeah, I think staying busy has helped us both. And I think we're talking way more than we would do if we weren't going, through what we're going through. So yeah, it's good and bad, but I think we're just taking strength from each other at the moment.
Good. So as you both know, I'm an avid user of the lenses. Where are they? That one, yeah. I genuinely, I've been wearing contact lenses for 20 years or something like that, and they are amazing. I genuinely, I wouldn't just say that, they're great. So yeah, big advocate of them. So I was really keen to kind of talk about your journey and why really contact lenses. How did it all start?
Well, I'll let Charlie answer why contact lenses, but the initial idea was Boxing Day, just after Christmas. There's a nice sort of gap between New Year and Christmas, knowing that every day feels like the same. And I was listening to a podcast and I thought, I'm really interested in creating a direct-to-consumer brand and a subscription model business, something that we can work on no matter where we are in the world, something that takes over and has a lifetime value and has recurring customers. Hopefully we started talking about the same podcast, the same boats. I was like, right, let's do it. Let's just try and start a company. Let's set ourselves a task of trying to create a business that doesn't involve, running an agency or having contracts, having staff. Let's see if we can get something off the ground, pretty low level. And that's where we started with the idea. And then Charlie will explain how we went to contacts.
Yeah, so I think it's we make no qualms about it. We literally we had an idea of doing something together, but what that idea was, we didn't really know yet. And so we sat in my living room and we debated the idea of doing subscription coffee. We thought about it for a couple of weeks. I think we went away, we bought a domain and we did a few different bits of research. But we quickly realized that we didn't want to be a seller of somebody else's products. We wanted to own the whole supply chain essentially. Yeah. And so, I was looking, trying to find something that I was passionate about, something I could relate to. And I was wearing contact lenses and I was like, look, they're really expensive. We saw a couple of businesses in the US and UK do a similar sort of setup to what we're doing as well. And we were just like, look, the contact lenses in the UAE are so expensive. And I think if you look traditionally, it's a hugely expensive product, which is owned really by 4 big pharma companies. And it has been that case for the past 20 years, 30 years now. And so we thought contact lenses don't need to be so expensive. So we thought, can we bypass the traditional sort of route to market and go straight to a factory and bring, a high quality product to people for an affordable price? Because from our research, contact lenses are not that expensive to produce. The factory we work with are producing 1 billion lenses a month, and so at that volume, they're not as expensive as the monopoly has dictated the last 20 years. So yeah, we wanted to try and get a product, like Christian said, that was replenishable, that people needed every month, and try and crack subscriptions, because nobody really had nailed subscriptions in this region, and we haven't nailed it yet at all. But we wanted to have high lifetime order value and customer loyalty from the outset. So yeah, lenses. I mean, look, it's not sexy. We're not opticians, but there was definitely a gap in the market for us to do something differently to what's being done regionally at the moment.
Well, you've done fantastically well. In intro pre-recorded before we started, I kind of mentioned some of the key stats that you guys have hit. So there's over 2,000 orders, 150,000 lenses sold, with around 1,000 unique subscribers. You came up with the idea in 2018, and here we are, not even like just going into Q2 2020. It's amazing. How have you grown so fast and scaled so quickly?
Well, so we only launched the company officially online about 4 months ago. But what we did beforehand was we thought contact lenses are seriously boring, right? Everything about them is boring. Everything. So the first thing we did thought was, if we're going to create this brand, let's try and make it a lifestyle brand as much as a need. So people need them, yes, we get that, but let's try and get rid of the medicinal stigma attached to it and create a brand that's a lot more engaging and a lot more fun, and just takes that stigma out of it. And that's what we focused on, the pre-marketing with the pre-campaigns and with our social media and stuff. And that's really helped us launch, I think, to the market over here. We've also been very aggressive with our advertising and using our ad spend. I think a lot of small companies, this is a really important point, a lot of small companies who start out don't see the value in advertising because they don't have a huge budget or huge money. But if you can generate, 1.5 or 2x advertising return, you're getting money back that you put in, so it's worth doing. And it's a lesson that I'll now take to me for every other company I work with, or every company I do. With Hopi, we're getting those returns on advertising, and it just makes sense. Whereas with my previous company in an agency, I never thought to advertise. So I was always thinking, oh, what's the return?
I think there's a big stigma, and we've encountered it. We've had days where before we launch, we're like, right, we'll just turn Facebook ads on and our world will change. Like, you see all these YouTube adverts and videos of these drop shipping gurus that like sell millions of dollars of goods every month. And if you pay $50 to do their course, you're going to be a millionaire in 2 months. Like, it's just not the case. And if we sort of take a step back from when we had the idea, it was a case of, right, how quickly can we get this to market? And from sort of the first idea around sort of late March, so it took around 8 months to go from having the idea, finding a factory, creating the brand, building the website, and launching. I think it was a case of keeping each other accountable. We flew to Taiwan a couple of times to find factories, build relationships with suppliers as well. I think that was absolutely critical. And I just think because there was 2 of us, we were 2 friends as well, and we were hugely passionate about doing it. And I know it sounds cliched, but it was just like, how quickly can we push the needle on this? Because if we get to market quickly, then we've got an opportunity of capturing as much of the market as possible. So
I also think, John, because we had those lucky dog bollocks in Taiwan, that really helped us.
Talk to me a bit about those a bit later, maybe. I was really interested because obviously you've come up with the idea, and then, okay, right, we're launching a contact lens business. What do you do from there? You've done the market research, which I think is something key that anyone thinking of starting their own business, particularly in this part of the world, that's a great idea. Then what happens?
I think the most important thing is with any idea is you really have to map it out correctly. What is the problem you're solving? That's the first thing you need to ask yourself. Why is that problem need solved? And then how are you going to solve it? And that's how you have to map the whole thing out. So we need to find out, what was the problem we're solving? Well, expensive contact lenses. So how can we make them more affordable? Find out how, by being direct to consumer. and then sort of work backwards from there. A lot of people build business plans from A to there, and I like to start my business plan from 3 years ahead and work backwards.
Reverse engineer it.
Yeah, we've always had a number of customers that we always bring ourselves back to, and Christian will ring me on a Thursday and think, oh, we're X amount there, or we're X amount, closer to that target. And so it's always been, right, this is the goal. How are we going to get to that? These are the steps we needed to take. So yes, that's something I've learned really well from Christian is like reverse engineering where you want to get to, and then just building up and taking every step as it comes. So yeah, we always like chipping away at that goal.
Okay, great. And a massive part that I guess kind of projected you forward was the seed funding. And congratulations, that was amazing how you got that. How did you do that? How did that come about? And what was the effect on the business as soon as you got that?
The seed funding, primarily, I'm stepping up and saying that's 100% on chart. So I'll let him explain how he came up with this brilliant idea one day, and that was it.
Look, an idea is an idea, right? But it took us both to get it over the line. But essentially, like,
you guys are cute.
Stop it. Yeah, right. But essentially, like Christian and I, from the outset, we didn't plan to raise money. We thought, how much can we do this on our own? I remember speaking to the factory for the first time, and the minimum order requirement was 100,000 boxes, and we were like, there's no way we can afford 100,000 boxes. And after literally 2 phone calls, and we must be unbelievable negotiators, but we got down the MOQ to 5,000 boxes. And so we tangibly probably could do that order, pulling in some favors ourselves. But we sort of did a pre-launch campaign because we wanted to try and find some product market fit and see, look, is this viable? Is there an opportunity here there for us? And so we instigated a sort of a viral referral campaign where we did some ads actually, and we encouraged people to refer their friends to sign up. And if they hit different tiers of our referral campaign, then they'd earn essentially free lenses. We did 19,000 email addresses. And our target actually was 2,000 emails in about 2 months. And we did 19,000 in about 10 days. And we were like, and I remember ringing Christian. I was at Jumeirah Islands Club, and I turned around. I was like, we have to make this work now. We've got no choice. We've got to make this. And I think that almost pushed us into, going ahead and making the business a reality. And it also gave us a springboard to speak to people in our network, like Omar Kasim, where we raise the money and say, look, this is the traction that we can get. And if we want to move quickly and really make a dent in this market, can you help us accelerate that growth? And so that's where the discussions came from, was, finding people that were potentially interested in what we were doing. And, to that level, it was, you couldn't really miss it. And then we moved just as quickly as possible. You hear all these horror stories of things dragging on and on and on, and fundraising taking ages. But we were just like, let's just get this ball rolling. We've got product market fit essentially, and those discussions happened pretty quickly, and it allowed us to place a bigger order than we expected in the first place. And got the business rolling. It just sort of, fortunately, there've obviously been a lot of hiccups along the way, but it just seemed to the right sort of steps, the right people came to us as we sort of did more and more moving forward.
Well, I mean, I put that down to beforehand, I wasn't really a massive believer in the law of attraction, but now it's starting to win me over. I don't know about you, Folsey, but the more you talk to people about what you do, the more people gravitate towards you. Do you find that with Hopi?
Yeah, and positivity is a massive thing that I always live by, and kind of business-wise, it's worked for us. So I totally get that. But there's only so much that can get you. So for you to position your business and be able to get a 6-figure seed funding is incredible. For people listening and watching who perhaps are startups that would be looking to get funding, what would you say kind of top 3 things that are important for them to get that?
Well, the first thing is you have to work out why you're funding. There's a massive thing in this industry in this region about funding for the sake of funding. People keep loving to announce how they've raised money and raised money, but they're not profitable. You you want to raise money, I just think you have to understand why. I mean, people keep saying, are we going to raise more money? We might, but we might not. We're not. It's not something that's at the forefront of our mind. We want to be profitable. That's the most important thing. So when you are coming to raise, think about what exactly are you raising for, why you need that money, and if there's another way of doing it yourself and retaining equity in your own company. I guess one of the first things I looked at. The second thing is have a really good deck. If you do a deck and you send it out to 5 of your friends and they ask anything more than 5 questions about the business, then your deck's crap. Like it has to be solid. It has to be, the idea has to be so straightforward that someone who has no idea what you're doing can pick it up. So, and Charlie?
Yeah, I'll add 2 things to that. Is the people you raise with. Like, there's a lot of money out there, and the times are changing now, right? So that may change, and I may come to regret that in a few months. But there's an abundance of available capital. It's about choosing the right people to raise money from, because ultimately you're asking somebody to be a part of your business and contribute to your success. So yeah, I'd say who that person is or who that entity is absolutely critical. And I guess from there as well, like Christian said, it's knowing your business, but being not completely steadfast and it has to be and it has to work just like this. I guess it's remaining open and just being completely confident in your ability of executing on that plan. So it's the people, and then just having confidence in the idea. And obviously, I mean, the last, like I just said then, like my previous business, I was all alone, did it all on my own, and I found it incredibly difficult being on my own. It nearly broke me to shreds, right? But having a solid founding team, whether that's a friend or a business partner, whatever it is the most invaluable source of energy in this, because that without that, this wouldn't be possible. So I think, yeah, have a great founding team is essential to raising money and going forward in that way.
Yeah, and if there's anyone out there, like small companies who are starting up, like, again, reach out to people, get on Twitter, get on to social network, go out to networking meetings, and just put yourself out there. I mean, just go for it, go for broke. I don't remember half the conversations we had 10 months ago. People probably won't remember me, and I won't remember them. But there were conversations worth having because they brought me around to where we are at some point. You just gotta put yourself out there.
And do you think that you have to come from a background of entrepreneurship, or is it anyone can do it?
You just need to be hungry. You always ask, what is the why?
Yeah.
People are motivated by different things. Some entrepreneurs are motivated by being entrepreneurs. People keep saying we're entrepreneurs, and I'm like, well, we're not yet. We're not an entrepreneur until we exit. At the moment, we work.
Christian and I both have got law degrees, right? And I'm like, I don't know how much student debt I've got in the UK from doing a 4-year law degree. And I literally arrived at university on day 1 and I realized I didn't want to be a lawyer. And so you spend all that money at university. Yeah, I learned some great things, but realistically, is that money better channeled to going and starting? Because I probably learned more in the last 2 years of running a business or failing and trying to do different things than I probably did at university. So I just think it's a case of, if you're passionate about something, you can fail loads as long as you learn quickly. And there's so many people out there who have copped things up and learned from it that you can learn from. I think it's just about learning and just absorbing as much as possible and trying to implement that into what you're doing. I don't think you're born to be an entrepreneur. I just think if you are passionate and you just action things, you can make things happen. So yeah, I just think just go out and get it. Anyone can do it, but it's not for everyone. That's the reality, right?
No, it's not.
You have to try it to do it.
Charlie and I, we have this thing where it's funny, if we talk to a lot of young entrepreneurs now who ask for advice and stuff, and it's amazing how many times we ask someone, what's your idea? And they go, I can't tell you. And you're like, oh. Tell people, if someone's going to steal it, someone's going to steal it. But the fact is, they're probably not. Most of the time, they're not.
I know so many people have an idea, or they claim to have an idea, but they don't execute. They don't go out like you guys have done it. So yeah, I guess kind of answering the question earlier, you just got to go for it.
So we're talking about our next thing, and we're like, we have all the lessons learned from I've had an agency beforehand, still have an agency with my wife. Charlie had his company beforehand. We now have Hopi. you're taking all the lessons you've learned from these companies, and that'll make the next one even smoother. And the next one. So it's like, I think you're right. It's just about go out and do it. Like, you're in a competitive space. Hoyamel, look at Hoyamel. I mean, if you had said 3 years ago when you set up, I'm going to go into a recruitment company, everyone would be like, "Oh, there's so many recruitment companies, Johnny. Why would you do? What's going to make you different?"
Yeah, I mean, there's always so many doubters, and I think I saw something that Charlie written in one of his blogs about people laughing. You know, what do you mean? You can't do that. But anyone here, again, who's from a kind of startup or thinking of starting up, just do it. Just do it. A big thing as well, I wanted to, oh, sorry, Charlie, a big thing I wanted to touch on as well. Again, recruitment is a big thing for us, but it all comes down to people. You touched on it earlier about having a partner to work with, bounce ideas off. You both have highs, you both have lows. You can see from how you guys interact that you guys are tight, and it's probably helping move the business forward.
Yes, 100%. I think we've said from day one that we were always very honest with each other. So as much as we do get on, and as much as we hold each other very accountable, we decided early on to very much split roles. I'm in charge of this and this, and Charlie's in charge of that. And we keep each other very accountable for that on a weekly basis. It's not personal. It's just, we have our personal relationship, which we really get on. But the business side of things, we keep it to the letter of the law, and that really helps us because it separates things. I think the other thing as well is you're going to get kicked in the bollocks quite a few times.
Yeah.
There's going to be days where you're just not feeling it. There's going to be days where you there's going to be days you just want to go home and say this isn't working. You got to pick each other up. And I guess the beauty of having a co-founder is, times when I've been down or times when I've been struggling. So I've got my daughter and my wife, and I've got a few other things going on where Charlie's like, no, come on. We've gone from nothing to over 150,000 lenses sold in the space of 4 months. Like, it's working.
Amazing.
Like G up, and I'm like, okay, yeah, okay. Or there's times where Charlie's having a bad day, and I get into him, and I think that's it. When when you're getting a co-founder or getting a mentor or whatever, just be willing to be completely open with each other and get after each other.
Yeah, definitely. That's what we do at Hoyamel. Really good friends at one part, but when it comes to business, you need to have that tough conversations if they need to be had. So I was going to speak to you about the challenges that you face kind of from day one. There's probably a lot, and obviously right now as we speak, it's this COVID-19 globally. What have been the challenges that you've overcome, perhaps, which are of note, and how are you having to pivot right now with the current situation?
Challenges. How long we got?
Hit me with a couple of them that you think are relevant.
I don't speak Taiwanese. Okay. No. The biggest problem is supply chain, I'd say. Would you agree, Charlie, to begin with?
Yeah.
Barrier to entry.
Yeah, barrier to entry into manufacturing now, say, in what we're doing is actually really low, but then finding the right product and then the positioning of that product is everything, right? Like I said earlier about drop shipping, you can find products anywhere now, you can get anything manufactured anywhere, but it's whether you trust the supply chain, whether they can, you can lean on them in times of struggle, throughout this whole last couple of months. Touch wood, and I'm touching every bit of wood I can get my hands on. Our supply chain hasn't been disrupted. And that's because we obviously put a lot of time and effort into building those relationships with supply chain. But finding suppliers is very difficult. And then on sort of a more, I guess, commercial level, Chris will know better than me, setting up and getting the business properly aligned with whether that was payment gateway, whether that was company formation. It was tough, and I think everybody says that, so there's no point us going on about it. But
sure,
yeah, I think there's headaches and. Sorry.
It is the risk factor. You got to the point where you're like, I'll sell my watch that that was a present. You'll sell your car. We'll do whatever work. There's that risk factor that's killer. And that's a huge obstacle, mentally, to pull yourself into the point. Even with Hoyamel, you're married to Leanne, you must get to the point where you think to yourself, if this all goes tits up, what is my option?
Yeah, you just make it happen. And
Yeah,
you have that insight in your mind, your mindset, or you don't.
Then the other thing as well with us, in terms of obstacle, was you know us, but it took you a couple of months to buy lenses because you want to see how people react. We're putting stuff in people's eyes. You can't just come on as a new brand and go, "Hey, try us, we're awesome." It's a really, really personal thing to do. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the most interesting things. I heard a podcast that you did previously, and what kind of clicked in my mind was you talked about the journey of the contact lens from the factory all the way to the eye, and you said that it didn't touch a human. There was no human contact at all.
No human contact until the first person to touch that lens as a human is the person putting it in their eye.
And what was the testing? How many times did it get tested?
There's 8 steps our lenses go through of automated testing, where they have to go through these 8 steps to get to the point of approval. So it's like, that's why you use our lenses. Like, we're not lying, they are awesome. And that's why we spent so long picking the right factory, because it was so important to us that if we're putting this in our eyes, it needs to be bulletproof. And that's the thing, like, we're 4 months into it now, but it took a lot of hustle to get reviews, to get people to back us, to get people to put testimonies out there. We had to get a lot of people really thankfully took a chance on us early on, and and that really helped us massively.
So you broke up there, Christian.
Oh, my God.
Sorry, you broke up there.
You're back now.
So so we've kind of talked about how great your product is.
Sorry, Charlie, I was explaining. Sorry, I was explaining to Charlie there how we had a massive hustle in the early days to try and get people to review us and to give us genuine feedback. Like Charlie,
I think especially for B2C, that's really important, right? And everyone reviews everything now, whether you're going on holiday or buying any kind of product, reviews are massive.
Social proof is the new currency, right? Like everyone, whether you're getting Chrissy Teigen to sell you toothbrush or whatever, like that's it now. If you see your favorite influencers using products, and people say influencer marketing's dead, right? And in a sense it is, but when you see High Smile launch with the Kardashians and Conor McGregor and their growth was exponential. But I think what's really important now in that evolution of an influencer sort of ecosystem is you've gone from listening to celebrities to now your friends' opinions are really important. Can you see real people that potentially live down the road from you or in the same community using those products? And Christian and I realized that we needed to try and get as many people to say that our lenses are decent, because Christian and I can't go around Dubai telling everybody where our lenses, they're great, they're in our eyes. But of course, we're going to push our own products and say they're great. So it was absolutely imperative for us to find people, to somehow incentivize people to say, hey, yeah, these products are good. And we haven't got a boring white box. It's a little bit different. We really worked hard on the branding and tone of voice and how we speak to our customers. And I think that's helped us create social proof. And I think that's been the absolute difference is, the 5-star reviews we get now. I even send them through to Christian on WhatsApp when they come through. And we've gone from the early days when we'd get a few negative comments and we'd be like, oh, heartbroken, and put all our attention into that now. Whereas now if we see positives, and that's a really good takeaway of business, right? You focus so much on the negatives, you actually forget about the positives. And now we're just doing everything we can to, take a moment and to reflect on those positive 5-star reviews, because they're gold dust, man. And they make you feel amazing. It's just like a year ago, we didn't even exist. And then now people, are relying on us for their lenses every month when they love what we're doing. And that's an amazing feeling.
I think one thing is, you say to people is, you forget as an entrepreneur or a business owner, you have to celebrate the wins. Always celebrate your wins. Absolutely. It's something that a lot of don't do enough of in the early days. You really need to celebrate the wins, because you focus so much on the negative sometimes that it'll crush you if you don't.
That's just natural. That's just being that's human nature, isn't it?
If you put an Instagram picture up and 30 people go, yeah, Foolsy looking good, and it just takes one person to go, sloppy rig.
We know about that,
but for some reason it is the negative just brings you down, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, Yeah, it does. And I was going to ask you, it's just coming to my mind about setting up here in Dubai, and I'm guessing you're going to look to expand in the Middle East. How hard or how easy has it been working and running the business from here? And this is your target audience in Dubai. Has that been kind of a factor to your success, would you say?
Well, I mean, we initially were looking at different markets to launch in, but we figured we live here and we know here. You know, initially we were looking at the UK, but then we were trying to work out it's better if we're on the ground in the same time zone, doing the same, you know, talking to people that we know. So that's what we thought we'd launch here. The plan always was to go to other markets, which we are now looking at. We've founded the company and structured in such a way that it actually has a global entity as well as a local entity, so that we can do that. But yeah, Dubai is a really good place, I think, to test a product like this because people are very honest.
Yeah, I think that's what prompted me to ask, because of the social media. If you know, even if you're at a restaurant and you go online, people can be quite savage. But I think that, as you say, that's a good thing.
It is brutal, and yeah, very early on, like it got to us because one thing Charlie and I said was for the first year or 2 years, probably forever, we want to manage the social media and the comms ourselves. We don't want to use someone else, so that we're doing direct feedback with the customers ourselves, so we can get the right data. Because I've had it before where people hide the negatives from you. You know, if you're employing them, they always just tell you the good things. So Charlie and I said, look, we'll take over the social media. We want to create a community. We really believe in our customers' opinion. We want them to be part of our journey, and we said that from day one. But the social media can be brutal. Isn't that right, Charlie?
Yeah, we had a live chat on the website. We tested it for a while. This is, you know, Christian's very good at dealing with, we'll call them trolls, right? Keyboard warriors. But I think, sat at home on a Thursday evening, and Christian was actually in Ireland at the time. And so I thought he was playing a joke on me. Anyway, so I'm speaking to a customer on the live chat, remaining completely professional, explaining about what we did and about our lenses. And the conversation really revolved around the idea of our lenses, daily lenses, and I think the consumer preferred monthly lenses. Anyway, the conversation came to an end, and he realized that we didn't do monthlies. And he said, "You've just wasted my time. Can you F off and die?" And I was like, wow. So I immediately text Christian and said, "Mate, this is a sick joke. Like, is this you?" And he was like, "It's not me, I promise." And we were like, wow, do you know what? So some people can go to those extremes. And I think, like, had I not been through like my own business and dealing with consumers before, whereas in gaming, I was dealing a lot with, you know, children or young adults who can be really horrible when they've lost a game of FIFA or something. Had I not been through that, then you take it a lot more personally. But like, Christian's got a great way of dealing with trolls on Instagram and Facebook, and we're divisive. We're not going to be everybody's favorite brand. We're not going to be the perfect lenses for everyone. But unless you create your own tone of voice and are strong with that, then you'll just get lost among the masses of other brands trying to do their other thing on social.
I actually said, Charlie, I think we can differentiate ourselves from the competition because we own the brand and own the experience and own the social media. We can differentiate ourselves by, you know, being funny towards trolls, by letting them have it back, you know, because no one's going to report us to ourselves. And then the other thing as well is, I said to Charlie from day one, to optimize, you need to polarize. You can't try and please everyone and try and segment an entire market. You're actually safer polarizing 20% of the market, having them loyal to you, than trying to get an unloyal other 80%. So I was like, let's go for it. If someone's a real bad troll, let's let them have it back. If someone's been really nice, then let's get in touch with them. You know?
And how have you found it? Has it all been in English, that kind of the feedback? Or obviously in the region here, kind of majority of, well, it's probably 50-50, and then a load of guys saying KSA. I don't know if that's a target market for you. Perhaps wouldn't speak English or would communicate in Arabic.
I would say it's about 80-20 English to Arabic at the moment, only because all our content is English. Once we start bringing out Arabic content, that'll encourage this.
Okay. He's gone again.
So Charlie, is there, for the future plans, are you looking to, you know, I mentioned KSA there. other locations? What's the plan?
Yeah, it's well, like we said before about setting the business up with a goal and working backwards from that. We knew we couldn't hit the number in our head from just the UAE market. And so, like Christian said, we positioned the business to be as global as possible with our entities and where we fulfill from, because we knew eventually we wanted to be able to open up to as many markets as possible. We've got people in a similar space to us in the US called Hubble, and in Europe called Waldo. Both fantastic businesses, both raised a ton of VC money, hugely successful, and they're sort of crossing paths in Europe and in the US. So we were like, well, we've got a corner of the market here that we can potentially cornerstone as our sort of goal, really. And so, yeah, essentially we wanted to test in the UAE and then open up to select markets where it was viable for us. You know, some markets have very low price contact lenses in their markets, which aren't viable for us. So right now it's a case of, let's just look at all the markets that we can potentially ship to, try and find out average prices of lenses in those regions, other equivalents of our business in those countries. And from a sort of an operational point of view, like look at whether the language is a barrier, currency, etc., and try and make a savvy commercial decision as to whether we open up the doors. And obviously from our back end perspective, we can deliver anywhere globally. Obviously it fluctuates with cost. And obviously being an online business, it's not a case of we can only sell to certain regions. And thankfully with the supplier that we have, they've got approvals for pretty much the whole world.
Right.
So we're not restricted on where we can really sell the product. So yeah, it's exciting. We're looking at obviously new markets, because the more markets we can open to, essentially then from an algorithm and Facebook perspective, we can present our products to more people, serve our ads better, and obviously grow the business much quicker. But with a subscription product, the only issue is obviously you've got stock, and with repeat business, if you grow too quickly and you run out of stock, you could be in a bit of a difficult situation. So yeah, it's managing stock levels, and then obviously who we're trying to get involved and speak to in terms of customers and countries. But it's yeah, look, every day is a testing day, but it's exciting with the ability to open up to as many countries as possible.
Great. And will you look to hire new people? I mean, is talent on the plan?
Yeah. Again, I very much believe in being as lean as possible. So we want to try and we will be looking at some new talent, of course, but we'll do that at a point where we have to do it. You know, at the moment we'll try and keep ourselves as profitable as possible with us too, and the help that we have. But I genuinely think in this space, in the D2C space, it's such a new industry over here that we'll be looking at a lot of new young talent coming through, as well as established people. I think for senior roles, if we go down the road of having our own technology and having our own digital stuff, we might have to recruit from the US, where it's a more established market. But at the moment, as I said, we're just trying to keep it quite lean. All right.
Yeah, I think to add to that as well, like we're in the direct consumer space, and for this region, it's actually a bit of a new vertical. Obviously, e-commerce is prevalent here with, you know, big brands and marketplaces, and you've got obviously horizontal retailers selling a variety of products. But for us, we're obviously one of the first digitally native vertical brands, and by that I mean we own the whole supply chain of selling. And so we did discuss previously if we were going to look at bringing people in, do we hire from, you know, the bigger direct consumer companies in the States or in Europe that have been doing these roles before, or do you actually look and try and find people that can bring those transferable skills? So it's always been in the back of our mind, but at the same time, we just thought as a brand, and the voice is so important, and Christian and I know that, and, you know, we can work from anywhere. So how long can we go just the two of us? I'm sure there'll be a point with, you know, in terms of order volume every day and everything, where we'll have to look at bringing people in. But yeah, at the moment, even with the partners we work with, it's always a case of, can we get people that we like and that we enjoy working with, whether that's our, you know, potential agency partners or whoever that may be. I think that's been really critical to who we've always worked with or aligned ourselves with. We need to get on with them and feel like they're pulling for the team. So, I mean, Christian's got much better experience of hiring than I have, but yeah, it's something we'll obviously have to do. But right now, we're just trying to be as lean as possible, just the two of us, and model our way through.
Multi-talented individuals.
Well, there is that, yeah. So you've got partners that you work with in different facets. What
Well,
are kind of the key partners that you work with day to day?
Yeah, so when we set up the agency as well, one of the key things we looked at was, or set up the company, was there's so many opportunities now to use different websites and different agencies for all these other things, but they're almost cheaper than hiring staff, so you're better getting the agency involved or a freelancer involved. And that's the thing we said, we want to keep it quite lean. Some of the best companies in the world in our space in D2C are extremely lean. I think, was it Native, Charlie? Native sold for how much?
Yeah, so they went from 0 to 100 million in 18 months, and they had 9 employees.
Amazing.
They sold to Procter & Gamble for $100 million in 18 months. And on the first day, they sold no bars of deodorant. And so their revenue per employee was obviously over $10 million when they sold to P&G. So yeah, pretty special that.
The D2C vertical should be quite lean in terms of manpower. I mean, you can rely on agencies for your creative or for your social and whatnot if you need to, but it should be fairly lean. You don't need a huge amount of numbers. I love what Patrick Candu's doing with supply in the US. I mean, he's got about 5 people and they're doing over $1 million a month or something, aren't they? I mean, it's a really sort of, if you've got the right people, I think that's the key, Johnny, is the right people involved.
Yeah,
not hiring.
absolutely.
A lot of people raise money and want to have, there's this thing about starting your own business going, I want to have 30 staff at a boardroom and I want to have sick meetings and I want to, have Wolf of Wall Street blaring in the background. It's like, well, it's
ego.
Really.
It's just ego.
You check the ego at the door. Like, I'd rather be profitable, 100%.
Yeah, that's a big mind shift for me. I remember working in corporate and all I wanted to do was leave, set up a big company, raise a ton of VC cash, have big offices with loads of employees. And we had a bit of a realization, Christian and I, like on the phone together, I think it was probably in January, and we just thought, that's not what we want. We don't want to be sat at a boardroom table with loads of suits and shirts saying, right, what's this? What's happening here? Why was that like that? And we were like, no, we want to be, we're 2 friends running a business that we absolutely love, but we can actually operate from anywhere. And so the beauty of that is that we love what we do, and why change that just for ego or looking like you've got a massive business? And we see so many people do it, like, oh, we raised $10 million. It's like, great. Well, I mean, when did you last make a profit? Do you even know what that is, right? And so
I 100% agree. 100% agree. And that's why you guys will be successful, because you're looking at long term. You create a lifestyle so it works for you. And yeah, so the business model is fantastic. And I think the product is amazing. So you can't go wrong.
I was going to say, John, just quickly, I was going to say earlier, because it actually mirrored up to a point earlier, but it does also apply here as a quote, like something like the 3 most addictive things, heroin, carbs, and a monthly salary, right? And so you move quickly away from, as soon as you're as an entrepreneur, like that monthly salary is gone. And so we've often had a discussion, Christian and I, between, entrepreneurs and employees as well. Like, we don't switch off at 6 o'clock. And sometimes you're not asking people to work every hour, every day, but I think finding people that have the same level of passion of what that you do to get involved in the business can be quite difficult. And so it's just like right now, I think it works for us at the rate we're growing. But yeah, man, it's just when the time comes, I'm sure we'll, Christian's experienced much more than me. So we'll get there at some point.
Good. Well, I look forward to catching up with you guys maybe in a year's time and see where we are. It'd be really interesting. I guess where we both are, but hopefully won't be locked in on lockdown still. But
imagine
that. No, but look, I really appreciate your time, guys. It's been really interesting. I could have dug deeper into so many different areas, but we'll cut it here. But yeah, thanks again. And
one more question. You're also an entrepreneur, I suppose, our business owner. Get that word right. How important do you think it is for people coming out to do their own thing, to enjoy the journey?
Yeah, that's you've got to. If you look for short-term win and you're going to be a millionaire overnight and you have that mindset, it's not going to happen. You've got to make, well, in my experience, and we've grown here, you've got to make it work for you, and it's a lifestyle play. And that's what I've worked for big corporates, and I'm much prefer this way of working, and actually more successful working this way. So yeah, I'm a big advocate of that. And yeah, I think you guys are seeing that now. It will work for you, and hopefully it'll be fantastic in a few years' time.
Good on you. Thanks so much for having us. It's been a wonderful...
No worries, guys. Thank you very much. I will put a link to the website and all your social media. And guys, go out there and give Hopi a try. Definitely a fantastic product. Best contact lens I've ever worn.
Wow.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Thanks very much.